why the pro-choice, anybody who's pro-choice cannot legitimately play the morality card. Like, you heard at least, Nancy Pelosi recently talk about building a wall is immoral, but yet she's pro-choice, definitely. Big time pro-choice, anti-life, pro-abortion, whatever you want to call it. And here's the reasoning why. Uh, uh, and I had to learn this. I had to reason this out for myself at one point in time because I didn't take a strong position either way when I was younger, and then it just kind of grew and grew on me as I was going through school and different experiences, life, seminary, this and that. And so I came to the point where I had to say to myself, is killing or is aborting a fetus, if you want to call it a fetus or a baby, uh, okay for in God's eyes? What do we know about God? God's position on abortion, on the baby in the womb. And from the Bible, there are verses that suggest that God already knew us before I formed you. I knew you before you were formed in the womb, or something like that. Right? That's one of them. So that kind of gives us a hint that possibly God is already planning a life within the womb. It's not just a biological mass of cells. But apart from that, there's not that many clear-cut verses that speak for or against abortion. Now, the argument, of course, is whether it's murder, is whether the baby, whether it's a baby, whether it's a human. When does it become a human? And of course, pro-life people say at conception, or there's different arguments, there's different tiers of being pro-life. You can be, and so I won't go into all that, but and then the anti-life or pro-abortion say, well, they don't even really. I don't know if they argue whether at what point it becomes human. They just say it's not human, or it's just property of the mother until it is born, basically. Well, the problem is that we can't say for sure that that's true. We can't say with definitiveness uh, whether or not the baby in the womb is, if it's murder. I mean, murder is against the law anywhere in the United States, anywhere in the world. Murder is against the law. So the argument is whether it's a human. And because we can't say whether it's a human or not, the moral thing is to make the most broadest allowance so that the possibility of murder doesn't exist. That's what we as pro-lifers say. Even if I can't say with certitude that I allowed for the possibility when I was going through the motions of analyzing this and becoming a pro-lifer. I had to say to myself, it's possible that God would allow you to have an abortion and that it's not murder. That the argument that it's not a human yet is possible. But nobody, not anybody, can say that that's 100% definitive, that the baby is not a human, therefore can't be killed. Nobody can say that. They can suggest it, they can argue it, they can propagandize it, but they can't say for sure. So because of that, I had to say, well, I can't say for sure that that's not a baby, and that killing it aborting it would not be murder. So I had to say, we must allow the baby to be born. That's the only moral option. Now, the pro-choicers or anti-life people are not claiming a moral position, because that is not a moral position to say that. They're claiming a legal right. They're just saying, hey, we have a legal right because I'm the mother, I own whatever's in my body, I can do whatever I want with it. That's not a moral position. And once you cross that line and you're just saying it's a legal right, you can no longer say, you're one of those who abides by what is moral and immoral. You've already crossed the line, and so that negates you from all spheres of the morality spectrum. It's like saying I have a legal right to shoot and kill anybody who comes on my property. You can claim that. Even some people would make laws saying that's maybe you could make a law saying that's true, so that you proceed at your own risk. But as Christians, we'd say, no, that's immoral. You can't just shoot anybody who comes on your property. You can shoot in self-defense if they're robbing you and you're in fear of your life or fear of others for being killed. That's another thing, but you can't say it's immoral to just shoot and kill anybody who comes on your property. You could say that, you could make that a law, you could make it a legal right, I suppose. But it wouldn't be a moral law. And so the point of this is to say that pro-choice, anti-life, pro-abortion people are exempt, are basically prohibited from claiming anything about morality or immorality if they've already made the choice that it's their legal right to kill a baby in the womb. Because they're not allowing for the option that it's wrong. And so the only moral option to be totally clear and safe with God is to mandate a mother must, at the very least, carry the baby to the point of birth and then give it up for adoption. The only moral option is to keep the baby and care for it, or give it up for adoption. That's the only moral option. There is no morality about pro-choice, about aborting your baby. The only moral option is the pro-life option. Keep it or give it up for adoption. End of discussion.